Welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC. My name is Benny, and that is Dan. And today we're going to be talking about Halo Episode 5. One of the few shows that we've been reviewing here at this channel that isn't superhero themed. I guess, technically.
I mean it's super human themed in a way.
So we are halfway through the series, and the ongoing complaint that Dan and I have had is that there is no combat. The story is just meandering for no reason at all. The world building is pointless and doesn't need to be there. And on top of it all, the characters are acting out of character. And of course, the last complaint, Chief is removing his helmet.
Yes.
The end.
I agree with everything you just said.
Let's talk about the first 40 minutes real quick. No, actually, it's like the first 20 because this episode is only 37 minutes long.
Yeah. I was going to say, this was a much shorter episode than the other ones, and you can tell why their budget ended before they could go to the full hour.
Yeah, so the first like 20 minutes, that we've now finally arrived at Chief's homeworld, and we are mostly focused on that and Kai, who has removed her emotion chip, arriving as well. Okay, so we've done that. And we basically have Chief activates the artifact, which, okay, I'm trying to not nitpick the removal of the helmet, Dan, because it's the thing that everyone is nitpicking. Right. And at the end of the day, I get the need to, our star's face has to be visible. I get all that. But of all the moments to remove the helmet, he walks into the alien artifact with the helmet on. It starts messing with him, and he goes, what?
No, it's messing with everyone else. It actually is not messing with him.
But he still removes the helmet.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's because you have to be able to see his eyes rolling into the back of his head. Come on. You need to see the veins in his forehead during
I was
this
like,
moment.
of all the times to remove the helmet.
I'm surprised that that's the one you mentioned and not, hey, we just had this massive battle against the alien race that can absolutely destroy us. Let me take off my helmet while we're still not
we're
sure
not
they've
there
all left.
yet. Because the other one I found weird is that him and Kai are walking around, and he's like, Kai, remove your helmet. I'm like, no, they're just telling people to remove their helmets. So Kai's with another one of the Spartans, and Chief decides to send her away because she's dyed her hair. That is literally the rationale behind it, because even Cortana calls him out for that.
He's like, you changed your hair. That clearly means you removed your emotional pellet. Why did you do that?
And then his response is, you're untested in battle. And even Cortana's like, so are you.
Yeah.
We haven't done anything for 4 episodes, Chief.
He's like, yeah, but I walked around the city. It's basically the same thing. I was on the subway. That's worse than the war zone, apparently.
So the episode is pretty much on par for the beginning of the episode, on par for the rest of the season, in which no action is happening. It's just dragging out the storyline. We all know where this is going. It's leading to the Halo, but the most roundabout way to get there. And they finally acknowledge that Halsey is not this god saint person that they've been implying she's not the whole time. It's the most obvious heel turn I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Do you have any comment on that? Because he finally snaps on Halsey, and I'm like, how did you not see that, dude?
The Halsey stuff, it's one of those, they're making it too obvious to the viewer at the same time. I think that's the biggest thing, is it's like, I understand that, like, from Chief's point of view, yeah, okay, you have no idea. She is just like the woman that raised you, basically, the woman that adopted you. But they have not added really any mystery for us as the viewer to make the turn a moment. Yeah. Like it's more of like a, okay, they finally revealed it. Wait, we've known this the whole time. Like, okay, let's keep going.
Yeah. And so they finally reveal that. And then we move into, finally, and I tweeted about this, it was so Halo.
It
Covenant
was so good.
It was so good. The Covenant attacks. Chief is running in. They're making jokes like swap weapon, and he's like, I know how to play the game. And I'm like, yeah, you do. You're Chief. And he's shooting everything. He's shooting off the whatever gun he picked up. And
okay. Two things. One, the Needler completely incinerating that one guy was amazing.
You just peppers him up and whoosh.
But as far as I'm aware, and you could correct me because I haven't played the Halo games in a long, long time. Jackals cannot wield swords.
I think they're putting out who can wield what. They're just throwing that out.
Exactly. I'm like, no. It's only the elites that can use the swords.
Right.
Jackals don't run around with a shield and a sword. It's badass, but it's inaccurate. Because, I need accuracy in my
Halo show.
In my Halo show.
I loved when the grunt stole the warthog, and then Chief jumped on it and just shot him up and took the warthog.
And they do it in I loved that bit because they do it in the exact same animation of when you do it in the game.
Yeah, it looks
jump
so
on the side,
good.
throw them out, hop in around it. It truly felt like a live action Halo.
It finally did. It was amazing, and it felt incredible. And you saw the drop pods coming down, and the fight was going on. And the fight lasted a full 10 minutes. We're not talking like 2 minutes and then they got rid of it. A full 10 minutes. But there's a moment in this fight that to me sold the idea that they have failed at their first 5 episodes. So the first 5 episodes of the series' entire purpose was to build the world of Halo, explain Reach, explain Silver Team, make you care about all of this. Really not trust Halsey, but you want to talk about Miranda Keyes, I think is that character.
Yeah, Miranda.
Yeah. Like they want you to care about everyone and they want to really build up and make you really invested. The core point of that combat right there is that Kai does fail and Kai is going to die. Mm-hmm. And my overall reaction was not, oh no, Kai! It was, oh no, Kai. Like, like the whole point of the first 5 episodes should have built me to be prepared to be like, oh no, we're going to lose Kai right away.
Yeah.
And I didn't care either way. I don't know if it's because I knew Chief was going to save her because it's way too early, or they did a terrible job of building up the world.
Yeah. No,
I don't know what it was, but the combat was insane. But that was obviously in there with the way the music was swelling, the way the combat was going, the way she was knocked out. They wanted you to care Kai might die. What did you think?
It was a combo of they wanted you to care, but they also wanted to show you that without those emotional suppressing pellets, the adrenaline of being in combat really does overwhelm you and cause you to seize up in the middle of battle. And you're standing there taking way more damage than a Spartan would be able to take in the armor once their shields are fully depleted. I'm just saying. But it definitely... They definitely did not make me care about that character as much. I will be honest, if it was either of the other 2 Spartans, I probably would have cared more. I hate to say that, but the actress that has been playing Kai, I've been more annoyed with the character than I have being invested in the character. Whereas if it was like one of the like other Spartans, I would like, if it was Vanak, I would have been like, no, Vanak, don't you die. Ivan will miss you, even though he's dead already. Plus your voice is amazing.
Contrary to that, I don't think there's any character they've introduced outside of Chief himself that I would have been like, no, don't die. I don't think they've done a good enough job. They're trying to give us too many characters, but keep everything vague. So we got a long running slow burn series. I'm not invested in any of the characters right now.
And once again,
this isn't a situation to be disliking the show.
Right.
If I straight up dislike the show, I wouldn't watch the show. We don't watch things here that we don't hate watch here at Absolutely Marvel and DC.
Correct.
There are parts I like about the show.
Flash. But
even that we don't really hate watch. I like the Flash, just I don't like every episode.
This is true.
So I'm not hate watching this. I'm invested in the show. I want to see if they're going to redeem it and make it a good show in my eyes, or if it's just going to be like I watched a Halo show. I'm the guy that watched all of that terrible superhero show, Jupiter's Legacy, on Netflix.
Yes, you did.
Because I was just hoping it'd get better.
So I think it's actually kind of funny because in spending so much time trying to make you get so invested in them, they've made me less invested in them. And I feel like I think this would have been a fantastic episode 3. I think if this happened like 3 episodes in for you to go, okay, we're going to get more of that Halo combat, but it also adds that, hold on, I want to see more about these Spartans. I haven't learned about them yet. You can't die in combat. Like, if they had done more something like that, I think that would have it would have made me care more. And I think, like you said, they've been doing so much world building, and It's not been great. And then they also keep going to the really annoying girl that wants to save her planet, that no one's going to actually save her planet, and she is stupid. And come on, damn it. And The Rock would definitely not break up the motorcycle thing instead of the small little chain link. And that... Sorry, I was a little frustrated.
No, I was going to get to Quan and that whole side story with, what's his name again? Soren?
Soren.
Yeah.
Okay, I will say, if it was Soren that had gotten knocked down in combat, I would have cared. I have actually gotten more invested in that guy. Yeah.
I retract my statement. There's one character that if Soren was with him, I would have cared about Soren. Because they've actually built how he relates to Chief. We've seen history. We've seen his action and what he feels about everything going on. He's the only one that they've built outside of Chief at this point with an actual history and emotional investment.
Yeah.
The problem I have with Soren is he's fucking. I don't mean to swear, but he's hindered
we're
up. By,
reviewing an R-rated show based on an M-rated game.
True.
Let's be honest here.
But he's. I feel like he's being dragged down because he's with Quan. Because Quan is just so unlikable. I've never seen a character be so unlikable. When she pulled the gun on Soren because I'm like, what are you? This is the one guy that has been trying to help you. I do not believe you're going to shoot Soren. This is so dumb.
Yeah, that as well as like there's been absolutely no logic behind any of her actions.
No.
Like you literally just got betrayed by your family. Like the only last people to do the resistance. You have no training. You've literally just been a kid that's whining this whole time. You're not going to take back a planet.
She is so terrible. Her character development is terrible. She's so unlikable. And Soren is the only thing that's bad about Soren right now is it's making no sense that he's still with this girl.
Yeah. I was honestly expecting him to just go, you know what? I'm cutting my losses here. And leave.
Why hasn't he?
Well, because apparently he decided to come back and then somehow does not have the situational awareness in a desert to see a girl walking up with a giant taser.
I was thinking that too. He got hit up and behind in a desert. There's nowhere for her to hide. Nowhere. And I'm just like, you are the worst Spartan ever, Sword.
He's a pirate now, let's be honest.
It's not like you're in the woods, man. I'd give you the woods, a forest. I'd give you behind a rock. You're in the desert. And unless I missed something, it was pretty open.
And it's like, because, she had walked away from the small dune. Yeah. Like, she was in the open. There are footprints, Soren. Look on the ground, man. You can't even excuse it of like he left before he had military training. No, he left after he got the military training. Like, God damn it.
We're happy to be doing this episode live. Someone said she was buried. If they did that,
then how does she get up without him hearing?
How does she get up without him hearing? And why she got no sand on her when she gets up? Like, she's not covered in sand. Like, that could have been a badass scene where she's like, rises. No, we didn't get that. And I know the comments are going to correct us, just like last time they did correct us. Kai did see Master Chief remove his pellet, so we were wrong.
See, I did know that one. I did say that, and you were like, no, I don't think so. So, but no, one thing that also is throwing me off with the other Spartans is they're not reacting really to the fact that Kai's acting not normal. Like Master Chief acting like that, like it's your superior officer. Maybe he's just built different.
Right.
That's fair. But they've also just been introduced to the fact that he's got this AI in his head. Like, okay, that makes sense. But this other Spartan you've known your entire life is all of a sudden acting differently. And the only thing you say is, that's weird that you're asking these why questions.
Yes.
We're going to go do this.
I'm pulling up the scene real quick, because whenever we sit here and debate things, I always forget that I literally have the player right there.
This is true. We do.
So I can verify how he missed Quan. Okay, so we can see that in a minute, and we can verify what we have wrong. But overall,
I will be honest. Like, there's a good chance I did miss it because I do tend to go, oh, it's the Quan scene. What's on?
I check out on the Quan scene so hard, like.
Mostly because it's just like if I pay too much attention to it, I might not want to finish the episode.
Sometimes they drag for so long. Like, she is dragging the series down, and not in a good way.
Yeah, she 100% is.
Okay, so I got the scene pulled up, Dan. I'm going to watch it to the side here.
Okay.
But overall, seeing that end scene there, do you now have hope for Halo is actually going to go in the direction we want? That maybe they were saving the budget for this final half of the season to give us the amazingness.
As long as we get more of these fights and stuff like that, I will still say that Needler moment when he just disintegrates was the moment where I honestly was like, okay, they're going full Halo, not just pew, 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 we've got guns too, but like also we're actually using the proper guns in the way that they were properly used. I think as long as we get more fights, I think as long as we get more progression with Master Chief, and I want more of a relationship between Master Chief and Cortana. I don't like the fact that Cortana is more on the side of Halsey. I know that they're clones of each other, but I feel like
I feel like that's going to flip eventually.
I really hope
Cortana
it does.
seems to be questioning what Halsey's doing too.
I want it to be one of those ones where these things that I want don't happen on the last episode. I want them to happen before then. I need that progression because, like I said, they could have condensed so much of what happens. This should have been episode 3. It's like we've just dragged things on. Okay, it sounds like you've got the scene up.
It's like literally 2 to 3 seconds, and she does rise out of the dirt with rocks and stuff coming off her. So I stand by my statement. Soren is a terrible Spartan that should have heard that.
Yes.
She does have a blanket
rocks
over her, though, to prevent it from getting on her. Fine.
That's okay, but that's still, if rocks are moving, if sand is moving, this is a guy, you guys also forget, these are people who are enhanced and were already advanced and very fast. We literally saw as a child, John, a guy falls in front of him and he grabs him before he falls. We've seen the fact that these people do have these reactions. If it was
and it
more
is a
of
quick scene too. It's literally like she goes, and then
if she had jumped up, tried to smack at him, swung the chain of the cuffs, if she had thrown that and he blocked that, then she zapped him, okay, that's a little bit more realistic. The fact that he does not react at all, that's the unrealistic thing, because we're also talking about a pirate. Pirates are paranoid because they know people are going to jump them. These are the inconsistencies that are frustrating about this, because it makes you wonder, it just kind of gives you that idea of if you're showing that a kid can get the jump on this guy, how did he last this long?
Yeah, that's more what my complaint is. And Dan, you remember Soren did remove a lot of his stuff, so we don't know what's still there and what's still.
But
enhanced.
that's what
it
I'm
doesn't
saying,
change the fact that he's still a soldier.
He's a soldier, and what I was saying about that of the showing John as a child was the fact that they're showing before the enhancements.
Yeah, they were picked because they're so amazing to begin with.
Exactly. They were basically
the problem we're having in general, though. Before we nitty gritty go into what was wrong with that, the problem we're having with this is, in general, the Quan stuff is so uninteresting that we're half checked into the Quan portions, but we're watching what Chief is doing, and Quan is just a terrible character. When she was first introduced, Quan felt like she was going to be Chief's humanity. But instead of having Chief's humanity, we had Chief remove an emotional pellet, so the Chief's humanity is Chief. And then Quan's just being annoying, doing all the annoying stuff on the side. She's not doing anything anymore.
Yeah. And she's just not likable.
No, she's the worst part.
There
hasn't even been a sad moment where we're like, oh man, she was really close to her family and the family was really nice. We haven't gotten any of that. It's just her complaining and yelling and telling everyone to do what she wants. And Soren, listen to her or let her go. And the Soren's like, oh fine, I'll go with you. Chief said watch you. What?
Yeah,
But this is why I save talking about the Quan stuff, because Quan is my biggest complaint with the show at this point.
It's what's holding it. It's the biggest factor that is holding it back.
Yeah, I feel like if we just dropped a lot of the Quan scenes, it'd be a much better show. So far, Quan hasn't even done anything that requires a portion, because you could, if you wanted to reintroduce her and Soren later, you could just explain what happened. Yeah, we went to her planet and everyone turned against her. Oh, that sucks.
Here's a flashback sequence.
Yeah,
okay, there you go.
But anyway, that's Halo 5. I have hopes that that the budget was saved for this. If the budget is saved to give us quite a few of these scenes, maybe 1 in 7, maybe 1 in 9, and then 10. And I'm not saying I have to have it every episode.
Is it 10 episodes? I thought
10
it was
episodes.
9.
I looked it up. And it said 10 when I looked it up. Maybe it's been changed because COVID kind of changed a lot of scheduling. But when I looked it up, it was 10, so we're officially at the halfway marker.
Okay.
But I have hopes. I'm hoping that this is going to go well. Because in my opinion, as much as I disliked as much world building as it did, as much as I dislike what they're doing, it feels like we're finally getting to what I wanted. So fine, whatever. I'm invested this far in. Get to where I wanted. Get to the artifacts. Get to the Covenant stuff. Get to the Halo. Get to the Cortana stuff. We're getting there. We're finally getting there. And this is what I've been hoping for. This is what I've been sticking it out for, to get to this stuff.
Yeah.
So I just wish they had done a better job with the first 4 episodes. But at this point, like I've said about Moon Knight and other shows, they're building these shows to be a 10-episode show without caring
for
about
the
your
record,
individual.
it is 9 episodes. Actually.
9?
According
Okay, so they dropped
to
it.
IMDb, they've only got through episode 1.9. So
Yeah.
we're past that.
And we're not
halfway.
going to talk about the Covenant lady being found by Chief because
don't.
she's also who the hell cares right now. I will say, at least with her, we haven't spent a lot of time with her yet, so there's still plenty of room to explain her.
Yes.
Like Kwan, we keep getting like 15 minutes of every episode. Yeah. And you're spending 15 minutes making me hate her more.
Yeah.
But at least this lady, like, will explain better as we're going, because I think we've only gotten that quick flashback sequence and her taking over a ship.
Yeah.
So we don't know what that is going to be yet.
monsters.
Yeah, and that was it.
That was the weirdest alien choice that they chose, was those worm things that I don't recall.
I feel like they knew lore-wise they couldn't jump to the flood, but they wanted to do something like that.
Right. But still, it's like that makes no sense. But yeah. Yeah.
The flood are scary. Why? Well, they're like the worm things.
Oh my gosh,
anyway,
man.
we'll be here next week for Halo Episode 6. I hope you guys enjoyed today. Let us know your opinions on Kwan. Let us know the scenes we missed. You guys are great at that. We're not denying that when it gets to the Kwan scenes, we check out. We're not denying that. That's how bad they are.
No, I that's the only way I can get through those scenes.
It's so, dude, it's almost like someone, like they hired someone from the CW. They're like, just
It's basically, it's worse than the Caitlyn Snow scenes where she is just whining in the Flash. And that's saying something, because I very much hate those scenes as well. But thank you guys for watching. We will catch you next time.
Yep.